Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, you have to ask how low the Greater Glasgow and Clyde NHS is prepared to sink. And it's pretty low, it seems. It's already been accused of hiring private investigators to investigate patients such as Louise Florence and others over the deaths of loved ones from COVID. It's implied to be a potential suspect in a corporate murder charge and investigation over the death of Millie Mayne and others. And now it's decided in its infinite wisdom that to top it all, it's going to remove parking permits for doctors. Because after all, we don't want those doctors actually being able to park and get into the hospital easy. They might actually cure someone. And that's not what the Greater Glasgow and Clyde NHS is all about. Well, there's been an uprising over it. There's been a furore over it. And it does endanger the lives of doctors. It endangers the lives of patients. And so they've been forced to reverse the decision. I think more out of the fact that they were caught than any kind of process of, well, maybe it was a bad idea. But we'll take a look at this to see what is going on and why the Great Glasgow and Clyde seem determined to be the worst health authority, not just in Scotland, not just in the United Kingdom, but possibly the whole of Europe. Here goes. So, top Scots docs feared for patient safety after hospital parking permits were cancelled. Doctors have these permits, they can park close to the hospital so they can run in, needs be, they can take care of patients. But of course, that's rather inconvenient for management who don't like the idea of doctors actually being available and treating people, apparently. Hours after the Daily Record contacted NHS, Greater Glasgow and Clyde, the worst NHS board anywhere in Scotland, certainly, and probably in the whole of Great Britain, the Health Board reversed the decision because they were shamed into it. It's not that they thought it was a wrong decision, it's just they thought the optics were pretty bad and it looked awful, which it did. Top doctors were left fearing for patient safety after a health board cancelled their parking permits. Why would anyone even think this was a good idea? I mean, it's okay, I get that they've reversed it and everything's okay and back as it was. But why would you do that in the first place? What bright spark thought this was such an ideal solution to a non-existent problem? NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde took the decision last week to cancel the permits for consultants at the Glasgow Royal Infirmary. However, the Health Board U-turned on the move, but only after being contacted by the papers. The press have got hold of it. They thought, this looks awful. Let's reverse it, because otherwise we'll be made to look out like incompetent buffoons. Draw your own conclusions, folks. Speaking about the plan, one consultant said, there's been a huge uproar among consultants, and we feel we cannot sustain emergency care for patients when they are called in out of hours and need to get there quickly. This could lead to industrial action. Dr. Alan Robertson, the chairman of the BMA's Doctors' Union's Scottish Consultants Committee, said this is utterly unacceptable from NHS GGC. There are huge patient and staff safety implications here. Yes, if you can't get a doctor there quickly, patients not only will suffer, patients will die. And for what? A parking permit. What moron came up with this plan? What moron said, I know, this is a really good idea. Let's stop consultants parking in the hospital grounds. Because after all, it's not as though they're important or anything. I can guarantee those parking permits weren't taken away from management. In an emergency, this consultant continues, in an emergency, every minute counts, and an on-call consultant could waste potentially precious time trying to find a parking space off-site rather than being able to park easily in a staff car park. Just hours after we contacted NHS GGC, it made the U-turn. Well, it's got to, hasn't it? You can't. What, some consultant who you're paying maybe $200,000 a year to, top neurosurgeon, heart surgeon, something like that, he comes rushing in at 3 a.m. because patient X has gone into whatever. He's then got to fanny around 10 minutes in a car park that's probably a 10-minute walk from the main entrance just to find a car parking space, then trot over the thing, Meanwhile, what he could have done is just pull straight in, car park, in a door, up into the ward, and saved 10 minutes, 15 minutes of his life. Saved a patient's life, more like. It's just... The level of stupid that you're dealing with here is beyond a joke. Whoever came up with that idea needs to be fired, because they're obviously too stupid to hold a sensible, serious job like this. Anyway, a spokesman for the NHS GGC has decided... A spokesman said NHGGC has decided to pause and review the staff parking permit allocation. Reading is hard, I apologise. At the Glasgow Royal Infirmary, following a recent feedback from staff. The recent feedback being, if you don't reverse this, we're on strike, because you're endangering patients' lives. That's actually, it's to a point where it may well be a damage situation and people can sue. That'll shit them up. What I'm loving is you have this situation where the GGC is possibly going to be indicted for corporate murder, and senior people in that organisation, both at the hospital and at the GGC level, could find themselves doing some serious jail time. With that in mind, it makes you wonder why these people's minds aren't concentrated far more firmly on not screwing up and damaging people any further. What on earth is going on with them? Anyway, they continue to say parking management arrangements on site will be unchanged at this time. In other words, we've been caught out. We realise now how bad it is. And we've also seen that there's a possibility that half our board are going to jail for murder. So it's best if we try not to kill anyone else with really bad, stupid policies. I tell you, we need names. Heads need to roll. You need to find out who proposed this, who agreed it, and fire them all. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. Anyway, it's a short one, but it just goes to show the psychology of these people. I'm coming up. The GGC is almost as bad as the SNP. They must have a whole department coming up with really bad ideas. Filled with morons, filled with people who lie, filled with people who don't understand what running a hospital is all about. It's incompetence and stupidity on an industrial scale. It makes you seriously question how anyone gets into senior positions of power anywhere in Scotland. It seems to me, if you know what you're talking about, you're instantly dismissed from your role because they only want to employ morons. It's beyond a joke, isn't it? And it isn't. The only thing is, it isn't the only thing. We've looked at all the problems that the GGC has had. It is the worst. And it isn't just the things we've just said about, the Millie Main, about Slorence, about Andrew Slorence and whatever. It isn't just about this. If you look back, there's so many different issues, problems across the whole of the GGC. And it's just sheer incompetence, bad management, stupidity. It needs to be completely revamped, broken up perhaps into 2-3 smaller units, each one run by professionals who know what they're doing and not the incompetent morons that you have currently doing it. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that simply frightened you. These people are running hospitals. Don't get ill. You've very little chance of coming out, haven't you? Anyway, till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.